I hope you enjoyed this corner of the map. I am back from outer space. Best of 5 ZVP, bottom left of Royal Blood. It is Kaizi Gaming's Reynor. In the top right, we have Stormgate's ShoWTimE. Of course, he's actually on the team BIG, Berlin International Gaming. Does one wear a purse or carry a purse? Philosophical questions. So ZVP, on the new map pool, on the new patch, we actually get to talk about Zerg differences. Zergs are so rare in the Open Cup. If Reynor does sign up, he does generally get to the finals. Ditto on Cyril, like the one time he signed up. Otherwise, we have to depend on the other Zergs of the region to actually sign up, which does not happen all that often, like Lambo and a Laser. And then for them to actually get kind of far, which, not trying to throw any shade, sometimes doesn't happen either. They get stuck at around the round of 8. So, very cool. You can finally get around to actually casting one of them. In a matchup that I do think does feel some of the changes. I think we've kind of exhausted the discussions around PvT when it comes to these Open Cups. And we even got a very good look at the TVT, thanks to Uthermal making it so far last week. So, now we got to talk about PvZ. Just a brief overview of the players before we get into that, and I think we will have some time to do so. PvZ can be, well, frankly, at times a bit of a boring matchup. We'll see. But anyways, the players. ShoWTimE, he has seemingly perfected his PvT, of course, getting closer and closer to it. Very good against both Clem and Here Marine when he signs up for these Open Cups. But actually does not maybe make it all the way to the finals that often, so I wouldn't be surprised if this was his, like, only 15th appearance, which has, you know, there's so many Open Cups, so that's not as many as it might sound. But I'm not sure, So, anywho, I do believe we will go back to, let's think of pre-Atlanta, regional Atlanta. I do think Reynor is going to be favored here. But that is kind of an interesting thing. We know a lot about ShoWTimE because of all the Open Cups that he signs up with and the fact that he did play in all of the most recent tournaments. But we know a little bit less about Reynor just because he was not involved in Atlanta, which is one of the bigger, you know, the only big super international events. Home Story Cup's a little bit weird, is the issue there. But, you know, that happens too. Anyways, Reynor, because he didn't sign up for Atlanta, we're kind of left guessing about his actual power leading up to Katowice. But the past 2 years, Reynor has had subpar performances in StarCraft 2 leading up to Katowice, then really dug deep for about a month or two ahead of Katowice and came out to the finals of both 2021 and 2022, winning 21, getting second place in 22. So this is his power-up time. Now, he was on shaky legs both of those years right up until Katowice, if I'm remembering correctly. He would play in the Open Cups, and he would not look all that great. And then maybe like the final 2 weeks, you'd start to see the old Reynor, and then at Katowice, he just like pops off. So I wonder if that's going to continue. That's the trend. I will say that I do not think that Reynor has lost any skill, even though there's been gaps of his international premier tournaments. And he is definitely going to practice a lot. He's apparently, someone said, Harstom's place to go, you know, study and practice as hard as possible, because I think he's talked openly a little bit about how his home in Italy is not an ideal practice environment. So what I'm saying is this is real tryhard Reynor. When this kid tryhards, he's pretty freaking good. And there is a difference, right? He can be a little, sometimes cocky in his gameplay, overly eager, overly confident. Obviously, people find some of his interviews to be similar. Personally, I always enjoyed them. I always thought he was a good kid, you know, and the confidence was good for the scene. But if he is tryharding, if he is once again powering up before Katowice, ShoWTimE is in a lot of trouble. Now that we got that aside, it's new maps, it's new patch. This could change things, but according to the community at large, it changes things in Reynor's favor. Reynor's going to win, no problem. Hands down, 3-0. Not an issue. Sorry, ShoWTimE. You suck. According to the community. This will be, hopefully, not that. And this will actually be quite back and forth. ShoWTimE did open up with a Stargate opener. 2 oracles came out, did a little bit of harassing, and then he did warp in a fair number of adepts, but this was not a Resident Enclaves build. He just was trying to kind of get the jump on Reynor. So far, kind of successful, actually. 10 workers in total, plus 8 lings. You can see a massive difference in the units lost. And the adepts mostly survived, too. So they're not exactly great as the game goes on, sure, but I'd say this is definitely victory for ShoWTimE. Reynor opts to go for a bit of a faster lair. He actually had very little vision as to what ShoWTimE was truly doing. He knew it was oracles, eventually saw the number of adepts, but technically, he might not even be sure it's charge over blink. Technically. Some of the features of this matchup with the new patch points in mind. Let's try and think of them. Creep has been nerfed, but it does not seem to affect the top professionals. Argue over whether that's true or not amongst yourselves. The point is, more cooldown on the creep tumors. Hatcheries now give a little bit more creep, which doesn't really affect this matchup. Cocoons for Ravagers take longer to form said Ravager, so that is a direct nerf to Zerg's defending surprise attacks. Upgrades for the Protoss Forges have been reduced in time, so these are finishing a little bit faster than they normally would by 7 seconds, I think. Oh, Swarmhosts are on the way. Oh, I didn't even see an Infestation Pit. So thinking too much about the patch, but that is Swarmhosts, then. By the way, insane amount of creep spread. This is a standard map, which I believe is also code for macro map. So it's pretty large, and this is it's already over halfway. That might be an issue. Especially because the Observer is not here to clean this shit up. I mean, having Revelations to clean it up obviously makes sense as well. The problem with this is that then the Oracle is not moving forward, searching for where the army is, if it's stuck getting the Revelations. So that's a bit of a concern. I don't even know where the second Oracle is. Oh, he eventually teamed up. Oh, maybe it was actually scouting the lack of army. So yeah, ShoWTimE, he knows what he's doing. Warpism goes in the main as well to go for a distraction, but I don't... The Oracle might have scouted the lack of army off the left side, but it did not scout the Swarmhost moving, so that has been a bit awkward. Excellent recall with the overcharged shield battery, Guardian Shield, and a couple of Archons. The first Swarmhost wave was not particularly effective. And now, of course, ShoWTimE knows what's up. So 4th base is fine as well. More upgrades. Hydras, if they make an appearance, have been changed. I will talk about that if they make an appearance. Disruptors have been slightly buffed from their initial nerf. By not very much, but we are going to see disruptors. Shield batteries are less good with their overcharge. So that's going to directly impact this. Oh no, the disruptor went a little bit too far. Oh, I guarantee there was some awkwardness there when he wanted to pull back 1 or 2 units, but wanted to be careful not to actually pull the disruptor shot into his units. Oh, that was so awkward. ShoWTimE is massively down in supply, but that is what happens when you go up against Roach Swarmhost. His initial defense was great, but this follow-up with the disruptor whiffing kind of sucks. And it might be too far gone already. He's too far away from his shield batteries, even though overcharge is available again. He does have some charge lots entering into the 3rd base with the Warp Prism, but he can't really afford to reinforce those. Locust, the wave number 3, is about to descend. Again, no shield battery this time, 0 Archons to help out, and it looks like Reynor is simply going to power through this. Yeah, I mean, he's already got the 4th base. Oh, 3rd base is killed too. That happened very quickly, very drastic change up. I thought ShoWTimE was doing fine leading up, but then he was very much not fine. So there was no new change really displayed there. Hydras weren't made, Vipers weren't made, Disruptors were, but they did not impact the game. They would have if the game was closer, but the game was not close at the end. Observer's a little bit bigger, but it's actually less big than it initially was buffed, nerfed to be. Actually, on my YouTube, where I talked about the brand new patches, Ollie came in and explained this maximum distance to receive damage thing. That's some of the bug fixes for 1.8. If you guys are interested in reading up on that. I don't think it actually changes anything that we're going to see, though. And we are getting into the second game, so I won't read the fairly long, very detailed explanation of it. Not yet. In the bottom right now of Babylon, it is Reynor. Top left, it is ShoWTimE. Babylon is a rush distance map. Surely stop adding distance. It's a rush map. It has a high ground natural and a very small choke. Its triangle third moves it very close to your opponent if the rocks are broken down. If not, it's not so bad, but then there's also high ground positions that basically siege tanks. Can't abuse. The linear third, has a low ground setup with wide open space. And that's kind of the main features. If you break down the rocks of the middle, it is a very, very short map. I could have done the... No, I missed the opportunity, damn it. I could have actually timed this probe heading out. I just did not think about it. Oh, okay. Someone remind me magically 2 minutes in advance to watch the probe scout. As it is a rush map, I'm going to guess that the distance high ground with a worker is 32 seconds. But that was my guess. I don't actually know. What else? What else to talk about? Patch and maps wise. I don't think there's anything yet. I have not formulated an opinion on these maps at all, other than, hey, it's pretty. That's really it. This one doesn't have a particularly large main. Actually very small when it comes to this direct left side, direct right side. Lots of dead space over here. Oh, and they got Collapsible Rocks. The return of the Collapsible Rocks. That's what I'm calling this album, this season of maps. There are many people out there who probably don't know what they are, as in they've never seen them in action, but you guys are smart enough to assume that you know what they do, and you're probably right. But if you've never seen Collapsible Rocks in action, we have our destructible, unbuildable rocks / plates. That is something they implemented into StarCraft many, many moons ago to stop any triple pylon or triple bunker contain. Yeah, you can break that, but it's not really all that important. You have regular rocks that get broken to open up a space. These are the regular rocks that get broken and they just go patoofoof. That's the sound that rocks make when they get destroyed. And then they disappear forever. Then you have collapsible rocks. And we have the collapsible rocks. So as I do many, many things producing this stream, get back to the point at hand. Also, 2 adepts trying to provide a little bit more aggression, trying to trip Reynor up. So far, Reynor is handling it quite well. Okay. So collapsible rocks, if you break them, they collapse. So that means collapsible rocks. Oh my god. Oh. So you break them, it goes hoop, 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 hoop. And it tips over and it creates these rocks. And then you destroy these rocks and now you have your pathway through. The other thing about collapsible rocks is that, it's collapsible is so hard to say, is that if an army is underneath them when the rocks are broken, the army underneath, if it has to be kind of like perfectly underneath to be fair, but if it is underneath, they will die. They will get smushed. And we have seen professional games impacted by that. Not anytime recently, because map makers all decided to stop making collapsible rocks for one reason or another. They also stopped making a lot of maps with Xel'Nagas. Case in point, there are no Xel'Nagas on this map. And the Xel'Naga map we got for this map pool, which we haven't seen yet, is one weird-ass, tricky Xel'Naga situation. Not even going to explain it unless we see it, because it's be worthless. And that's all I got for the map. Build-wise, obviously the oracles, and we are going up to 3. trying to do their best, trying to do some damage. ShoWTimE had a really good opener last game. Now, it wasn't good as in it killed 20 drones, and why did you lose that game? But it was good as in Reynor made more mistakes. And ShoWTimE, so far so good, having a perfect game right now. Kind of tricky use of the Adepts with the Revelation. Very annoying to the Zerg. But once again, adding on those Adepts, just like last game, the difference is the third Oracle, which I'm 99% sure he did not get last game. Twilight Council is still not on the way, by the way, guys. It's right into a Forge and a Robo, so there's definitely different follow-ups here. Possibly going right into Disruptors and Colossus? No. Immortals +1 and then Robotics Bay? Still, yeah, it's not going to be much pressure on the ground. Well, unless he starts building a lot of sentries. He's already up to 2, I guess. Let's look at the actual abusable chokes on this map. So basically, when it comes to the maps, and it does require more analysis than this, but let's go with basics. Large maps, good for Zerg. Large open areas, good for Zerg. Anything else, good for the other races. Protoss can sometimes be the awkward child where they are more considered in map design. Terrans, you have to consider siege tanks, abuse, which the map maker has considered here. A tank here would not shoot the hatchery, which is most important. And Liberator range. And Protoss, I guess, only have force fields, to be fair. So I guess Terran's actually the problem child. The point is, you know, Terran and Protoss, they want to attack quick and hard. They want to catch the Zerg by surprise a lot of the time. Catch their rallies as well. And they want to be able to utilize chokes to utilize their tanks or their Widowmine Splash or their force fields. And so that's what I was going to look at. So far, noticing these two chokes. ShoWTimE doing really good work with this opener. It is quite scary should you run out of force fields. The Pulsar Beam from the triple Oracle will help a little bit in case you get screwed over. But it looks like Reynor is once again going into Swarmhosts. I wonder why he's doing this. So this was kind of a cheese of the season 4 map pools ago, I want to say. I can't remember the map that was most popular on. And then it just stopped. The only time I'd see Reynor pull it out is if he detected it was Fast Storm, I believe is what he said. So that's if you see all the gases instantly taken. Is that what he said? Now I'm worried. I'm confused. Now I'm worried. I'm flipping it. I'm flipping the scripts. Oh, shit. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. Because I don't think he said it's if the gases aren't taken and they're going mass gateway. You know what? We're moving on. Point is, he seems to really want to do it kind of no matter what. ShoWTimE has displayed 2 follow-ups that are a bit different, but I guess ultimately what this is going into is charge Archon. Well, no, it's Blink. It is Blink. But there's Zealots on the field. That's why I was confused. Most of those are Adepts, actually, but those are Zealots. It is Blink. So it is different, but maybe it doesn't matter. Nothing's really prepared. The Disruptors are prepared, but the problem with Disruptors against Swarmhosts is that, you know, they're wasting very precious shots. Not wasting. They're using precious shots on, I would argue, a little less precious of a Locust wave. I guess it does depend on whether or not 2 Disruptor shots take out the entire Locust wave or not. So there is that. But the problem I'm trying to explain is that you use 2 Disruptors on the Locust wave, but there's still 30 roaches that you can't defend against. That's problematic. But in this case, it seems like it's okay. You know, Reynor didn't get any sort of jump on ShoWTimE, even though the last game's recall was very swift, very well done. Stasis Trap kind of helping a little bit. Disruptors, once again, having used all their shots or died, might not be prepared to deal with the roaches. That's actually not that many roaches. With Blink finally done, +2 on the way, the Stalkers themselves are now very intimidating to the roaches. They don't really want to handle the Swarmhosts, of course, but if you can, divvy up the jobs perfectly. Disruptors go to Locusts and Stalkers go to roaches, and you actually have the numbers, something that ShoWTimE lacked very quickly last game, and that will work. DTs have also been an excellent addition, killing a couple of drones, about to get this hatchery. helping defend the natural from being pushed into, although there is still an open wall. Disrupt is going to be temporarily saved by the shield battery, but temporarily being the key word. Unfortunately, the pickup there was not good. The Warp Prism looked like it was trying to pick it up, but it failed for some reason. BT is on the right side, going to be taken care of thanks to an Overseer. Reynor is picked up on ShoWTimE's tricks. He will not be caught off guard once again. And now it is more and more roaches and ravagers. ShoWTimE was almost past the breaking point, it feels like. When you get above that 150 hump for the Protoss versus Zerg, you do start to get into that just like quality over quantity issue, where the Protoss units are good, and there's enough of them that they're not being overwhelmed. But we're back down to a 60 army supply deficit, actually more than that, about 90, holy shit, because Reynor's still only on 55 drones after losing 15 to the DTs. And that is bad news. Unfortunately, the economic damage is just not that impressive when units do have free units. Apparently this is a controversial statement, but it really isn't. Swarmhosts, locusts are free. So wave after wave, if you can keep the Roach Ravager alive, then all power to you. If you keep especially the Ravagers alive, you actually have more of a 1.5 army that has quality as well as quantity. And it looks like ShoWTimE just couldn't keep up the numbers. I felt like he was so close to actually getting over that hump, but again, it just all fell apart very quickly. I'm wondering why Reynor's doing this. It could be A, he wants to practice it. B, he thinks it's really overpowered. C, he thinks the new maps are good for it. D, he thinks the new patch is good for it? Doesn't make any sense, though. E, he thinks ShoWTimE is particularly susceptible to it. Susceptible. Reddit was definitely wrong about these changes. I don't know what that's trying to say. We really haven't seen any of the changes so much in action here. The disruptors have been a little less effective, and for when it comes to locusts, I guess that small change probably affects a lot of locusts. F all of the above. I did forget that option. Bottom right of Neo-Humanity. First time we're seeing this one, we have Reynor. Top left, it is ShoWTimE, who is struggling against the Roach Ravager Swarmhost build of Reynor. Nothing. Okay, let me think of why Swarmhost would suddenly be very meta before someone tells me. Yeah, just tell me, because it's gonna be on Ultimate 3 anyways. Hydras got buffed. Ultras got buffed. Vipers got nerfed. Queens. Creep spread kind of got nerfed, but not really. Swarmhosts didn't get touched.
Received. Apparently you are doing something right,
I think on the Zerg side really shouts to me like Swarmhosts are the go-to. Cuddlebunny, thank you for the 41 months. Let's think about what the Protoss have done to them. Shield battery is less effective, which would impact the locusts. Again, if it's a one-shot situation, if something hits hard, the shield battery change might not be as effective, as in you might not see the effect of it. Locusts do hit really hard too, so maybe I'm wrong on that one. Shield battery's not as good. Okay, that's one. Observers are easier to spot. Why can't I remember any of the changes right now? I'm just, not even that I'm thinking these through, I just can't think of them. Actually, Viper, Hydralisk, Brood Lords are changed, Ravagers are changed. Like, he's using offensive Ravagers, doesn't matter that they take longer to build. Apparently. These last two games, I don't think that mattered. Shield battery was nerfed, Observer was kind of changed, Archon can fit between gaps. I Actually, Archon fitting between gaps seems like it's a huge buff against Swarmhosts, actually. Because so often it's the Archons getting recalled to the main, trying to go back to the third that screws the Protoss over. Anywho, Carrier is easier to snipe. Sentry is a faster build time. Whoa! Forges produce faster. I'm not really seeing anything in the patch itself that says that like Swarmhosts would suddenly be more viable. But, I don't know. Maybe that's, I'll let you guys figure this one out, perhaps. As I said, there's a lot of different reasons why Reynor might be doing this. I listed them just at the end of that last game. Let's talk about the map a little bit before we get into the thick of the map itself, gameplay-wise. Oracle opening, so far, so good. You can see that this map, I forget what subject it's under, but it has gold minerals. I didn't realize they were gold, actually. They're gold minerals. Excuse me. And they are 14 minerals. That's very specific. I wasn't expecting that. Chat, why are they 14 minerals instead of something in 5s? Couldn't they just be 15 and have the same effect? Anywho, you can mine them out and then you can get this base up. And so it seems like upon initial impression, Scarlett actually came into my stream when I was going over this, and she said that, you know, they'd probably just mine this out and take this base. And I saw the value in that. I didn't think it takes some probes moving over, so it is something that the pros have to accommodate, but at least they're gold, I guess. Wait, wait, he mined them all out. Is it just 2 trips? Am I just completely blanking on what gold minerals do? When I looked at this map, I honestly thought they were regular minerals and that the terrain was making them a different color. They're definitely gold. They're rich minerals. Okay. Well, anyways. Let's wait for the chat to answer that one. So he's not gonna... ShoWTimE's not doing that. So this is a very easy wall off, as you can see here. 2 buildings and then the unit in the middle. The third base is kind of far away. Maybe not the farthest we've ever had faraway bases, but it's kind of far. It doesn't just bend to the left, it also bends backwards. And then not only is it kind of far, but, you know, it does technically have chokes helping against Zerg. Or Terran, whatever. But right now it's Zerg. They're not really choky chokes. They're not the chokies of chokes. And while it would take some preparation on the Zerg side to get a full surround, it's definitely not impossible. Oh, I wonder why ShoWTimE's taking that base instead of mining out the gold. If it only takes 2 trips, that's not that bad, because you don't need the full thing open right off the bat. Even though Reynor did do that. He's going to go into Swarmhosts again. There's really no reason not to. I mean, it doesn't even matter if he had a particular point to make when the series started. The point is now, ShoWTimE just can't defend it. Yeah, gold mines does mine at 7 at a time. I eventually found confidence in my own reasoning here. It took a while, though. Yes, just to confirm, it's mine's out in 2 trips. So we have a big difference. Archon drop coming in, and not with any charge lot reinforcements. Oh, well, no, maybe actually, yes, just a few. Adding in here means the Warp Prism can reinforce. Charge and +1 are done. We have a move on to a robotics bay as well, so this isn't totally all in. But the addition of charge lots does change the way of which the Zerg has to defend against this. He should still have enough. I mean, this actually is getting kind of sketchy. The queens are going down before they actually focus right on that Warp Prism. The extra zealots coming in might make the big difference here. ShoWTimE hitting a very, very close timing to get this to work. The Warp Prism does eventually go down, by the way. Just enough queens here from Reynor to pull them from every which direction. But it's still going to be a massive amount of damage. If the Archons get recalled, yeah, definitely recall the Archons, because you know it's on the way. Ah, one of them's going to get killed anyways. Then, yeah, you might still have enough defenses back at home for the inevitable Roach Swarmhouse push. Swarmhost push. Okay, the rock's broken down the middle, by the way, so it's making a very short map. Well, I mean, I was thinking about the third base in terms of, like, Roach Hydra or Ling Baneling Hydra. Obviously, that's not very important. It's Roach Swarmhost again. Reynor had to delay his production of Swarmhosts to emergency make Roaches, which has worked to help keep him alive. But he's not hitting, I think, as particularly, like, sharp of an attack. But it never really was the first attack that made us worried for ShoWTimE. In fact, the first game especially seemed to get out with it pretty quickly. Second game was, I suppose, a little more haphazard. It kind of was like a kind of game for ShoWTimE. But it's usually just not the first. It's when they first attack, if it's a surprise, if you're not prepared, that could end the game 100%. Second attack, ditto. Third attack, usually the Protoss has like something in hand. And then it's the point of which they get fully maxed out and start sending bodies every which way that also, again, gets very annoying. In this case, Reynor is maxed out as his first Locust wave appears. Disruptor is even pushing aggressively into the Swarmhosts. Try and get some keen shots there. Don't really hit too much. And now the Disruptors are out of shots. One reinforcing comes in. That's actually 5 Disruptors. One's gonna get targeted down by... Oh, that was a good Disruptor shot. Trades out one of these Disruptors, 2 Disruptors, maybe 3 Disruptors. Disruptor did not want to hit its own Zealot buddies. Roach and Ravager all over the place, kind of keeping track of almost 3 different engagements here, here, and here. ShoWTimE is trying to get a 4th base up and running while this is going on, by the way, guys. But I see that disturbing trend of the last 2 games where initially ShoWTimE was so close to getting over the hump and then gets beat back down to more like a 120 supply. Should he lose on 100 supply, it would basically be the same game over and over and over again. And now the Locusts are going to go for kind of the freebie kill on the Nexus over there. Last second split's decent from Reynor to make it that Disruptor damage, of which it is already being reduced compared to the Disruptors you guys are using on the ladder. But a little bit better than it was last week. Gotta be so specific. ShoWTimE does lose the 4th base. His Stalker number is rather impressive, and if he can always get the initiation, then he could do better here. If he's always the one pushing into the Swarmhost, causing the Locust to pop here instead of over here, that's great. If you can kill off some of the Ravagers before they're ready to go again, that's great. That's what Stalker mobility is going to be good for here, because they certainly aren't going to be going really across the map at this point. Disruptor gets 1 Swarmhost. Stasis Trap actually locks out 2 more. But this is a lot of damage. Corrosive Biles even hitting the Stalkers, and ShoWTimE... Well, he was damn close to just winning the game to make it easy on him. Still struggling against Swarmhost Roach. Or is he? Yes, he is. He still is. I mean, this is a powerful return. Reynor got a little overconfident. He didn't have any more Locusts. His Roach reinforcements weren't on the front lines yet, but it's still 3 base to 4. And Reynor has a rich Vespian gas in the middle, by the way. And while the Swarmhost count is lower, I think 4 or 5 have died. 4. I mean, there are still enough to be a bother. Oh, okay, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Blink almost got another one. Had to run away from the Locust, though. And it's a pure Stalker at this point, but that's a lot of Stalkers with +2 attack. Disruptor's gonna go down. Oracle helping out with the Pulsar Beam. Warp Prism apparently died to something. Did it die to a Corrosive Bile? That's very disappointing. That's very unfortunate. Reynor with now a 100 supply lead. Once again, ShoWTimE blinking forward, hoping that he can collect on some of the remnants of this attack, but reinforcements will eventually arrive over and over and over again. If ShoWTimE had a 4th base during some of these quote-unquote counters, times in which he thinks his Stalkers are winning, shall we say, he might have actually forced the tides to turn, but he never quite got enough Stalkers to actually force Reynor to be on the defensive. GG. I mean, not a PvZ I think we all wanted in terms of entertainment value, as well as in terms of figuring out how the patch is going to look. But if you were to look at that and say that the shield battery change and